You might have parasites. There's a good chance you have parasites, and you might have them in a way that you did not even think about. So if you clicked in this video because you're curious, you're in the right place, you're gonna learn something that you didn't realize, and it's gonna help you grow cleaner and take care of the real you. So welcome in, fam. Much love. Trav here. Very interesting discussion today. But you clicked in this video because you thought, what if I have parasites? How do I make them go away? So let's talk of the literal most common parasites that we know about, and the most famous ones, the most interesting ones as examples. But then I'm going to take it in a direction where you might think, no, I don't have those, I don't have parasites, but then realize that, wait, actually I do. So welcome in, fam. Much love. We out here with the sheep. And if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to give a thumbs up for Gardenia. She's a sweet sheep. Okay, so what are the two most common types of parasites that you can relate to that you might have? So the first one is, it's common to have parasites in the gut that crave sugar and need sugar to survive. And they communicate via the vagus nerve, which runs up the gut through the brainstem into the brain to make you crave sugar, to get sugar to feed the parasite. So if you have sugar cravings, it's a possible sign that you have parasites. So what's really interesting about this is that the parasite itself that's living in your gut has the ability to make you believe that you want this. So if you find that you have a craving for anything that's harmful, that's a sign of parasite. If you have something that it's bad for the true self, but you still desire it for some reason, that's a sign that you have a parasite. So in the case of this monster, this little monster that's living inside of you, that's creating a parasitic identity where you're going to sacrifice the true you in order to let this parasite survive and flourish. How do you starve it out? So that's a really interesting thing, is this concept of a parasitic identity, because you think it's you, but it's not you. And in the case of these gut parasites, you do some kind of a cleanse, right? You starve it of what it needs to survive, and it dies. And then you're happy. So there's different kinds of cleanses out there, but it's basically abstinence from it's abstinence from the food, the fuel that the parasite needs to live. Now, there's another kind of parasite that's common and really interesting, and that's Toxoplasmosis gondii, which is the cat parasite. You've probably heard about this. It's the cat mind control. So it affects different mammals, but it basically is a parasite that gets into your brain that lives in cat poop that makes you love cats. So you've cat lady who has 200 cats. Why did they go crazy? Toxoplasmosis gondii parasite. The parasite is loving the cats, and it's taking over from the real you. So it's like, what is a parasite even? Well, a parasite is something that's living off of a host organism. So you're the host, and the parasite is leeching off of you, but the host has a hard time differentiating the identity between the host and the parasite. The host doesn't, if you don't recognize the parasite is taken over your identity, right? So what's interesting of toxoplasmosis is the way that it affects rats and mice, because rats and mice get infected by it, and then they love cats, and then they sacrifice their real self to go be around cats, and the cats eat them, right? They're catchable. So cats have this crazy mind control. So there's two common kinds of parasites, and if you're thinking at this point, well, I have the sugar craving, well, that's maybe a sign you should starve them out. Or if you have a feeling that I don't have the sweets and I don't have the cats, so I don't think I'm good on parasites, I'm about to blow your mind here. And my mind was blown when I read a comment from a channel commenter. So thank you for leaving comments. Right now the channel, I feel like the channel is going to grow a lot in the next year, but right now the channel's at a level where you probably noticed I read and I respond to every comment, and I read and respond to every email for the most part, almost every one. And so I got a comment. I got Barney right here, is going to cause some problems. I'm going to step out. Okay, problem solved. Got the fence line to protect us. So, back to the mind-blowing comment. Thanks for still being here with me. Thanks for not clicking away. Thanks for having a high attention span And make sure to watch to the end of the video because it's going to be really interesting. Shout out to the sheep, got a lot of nice grazing. So the YouTube comment that I got said, yo, I'm 60 now, I quit chocolate and I quit caffeine when I was 20. And what I realized is that addiction is not so much as a disease as it is a parasite, because the parasite creates a need to feed itself that confuses most people's true self-identity to believing that the parasite is the true self, and will sacrifice the real self to keep the parasite alive. So an example of this is smoking cigarettes. A nicotine addiction is a lot less a disease, it's more like a parasite. And the reason why is smoking the nicotine, it's not like a true parasite, it's a psychological parasite. This is a construct that makes it able to easier understand it. But you kill the nicotine parasite in the same way that you would kill the sugar parasite, because the nicotine parasite needs nicotine to survive. So that's why it's asking you, the true identity, to provide the parasite nicotine, even at the cost of cancer, lungs, your skin, your teeth, your gums, your health, everything good about you. It's asking you to sacrifice it for itself. But if you only starve the nicotine parasite, it would die and it would not be able to give up those cravings anymore. That blew my mind when I read that comment and I thought about it and I realized it, because I grew up around addiction and I was taught addiction's a disease, addiction's a disease. Okay, that makes sense. No, addiction's more like a parasite. When you crave alcohol, whatever your drug is, binge drinking, pick the common ones, and you know it's bad for you, but why do you do it anyways? Why do you crave it, right? That's the interesting thing, is like, where's the craving coming from? The craving is not coming from the true self that is seeking to be healthy and to protect itself and to preserve itself. The craving is coming from the parasite that is seeking to feed itself even at the cost of the host organism. So if you have an addiction to weed, or you have an addiction to coffee, or you have an addiction to alcohol or nicotine, like we talked about, it's not very different from having a gut parasite that needs a lot of sugar to survive, and it creates a craving in your brain that you're confusing with you want, but there's another living thing in here. And for these addictions, it's psychological, but you can still starve them in the same way like you would like a tapeworm, right? You can starve it by depriving it of what it needs to survive and what it needs to thrive. And by doing that, over time, the parasite dies and you're healed and you protect your true you. So what I invite you to do in this video is to pay careful attention to cravings that you're not sure where they come from or why they come from. Cravings for things that you know will harm you. Pay attention to those things. Those are signs that you have a parasite. And how to get rid of the parasite is to identify those cravings. That is the craving in the parasite. That is not my craving. I'm going to starve it out and trust that it's gonna disappear pretty quick. What you find is when people really struggle with addictions, and one of the reasons they struggle is because it's the psychic identity takeover from this monster, this thing that doesn't care about you. It just wants to survive. So, but when people are succeeding in this, they oftentimes feel so liberated, they feel freed from this parasite, and it happens quickly. The joy and the success and the feeling like, yo, I feel way better, and the cravings are gone. Like, the cravings will be gone quick. I'm celebrating my 1 year coffee. The start of October, and the coffee is a hard one to quit. It's not so harmful, but it is very addictive, and it is very controlling, and it will control your behavior. And you see people come stumbling in the morning like they need their coffee. And what coffee is doing is, one of the things it's doing is it's constricting the blood vessels in your brain. So when you stop coffee, the headaches are engorged blood vessels in the brain. It's painful for all the blood to be flowing back through the vessels in your brain. And all you're doing when you're drinking coffee is you're relieving the pain. It doesn't even really feel good. You realize I'm just relieving the pain and I'm feeding this beast, I'm feeding this monster. So it becomes easy to quit when you say, I don't want to feed this monster. This is not the real me. This is not the true me. I want to live a long and healthy life. I want time to do the things that really matter. I want real joy, real fulfillment, real pleasure, and I want to do it in a way that preserves my true self. So if you found that interesting, if that blew your mind a little bit, like it blew my mind, make sure to hit the thumbs up and comment down below what you thought about that. And if you have a addiction, or you're trying to quit something, I've got a free course for you. You should click on that below as well. Click into there. It's going to help you get better. And if you found this useful, go ahead and share it. Share it broadly. Share it on social media. Send it to someone who needs it. So thank you. Appreciate you. Much love. Talk to you soon. Peace.